I look at this one and I like a lot of the things that they've done. Um, I worry a little bit for the head coach because of the position that he's in right now, and that's the Titans. And like where they are at quarterback concerns me a bit. I I still don't know that there's a discernible strength on that roster, which a huge part of it is what all of those guys inherited. Chad Brinker's still relatively new there. Mike Borgonzi's in his first year. Brian Callahan's going into year two. But it's sort of what I was talking about with the Dolphins, where they need a lot of things to come together all at once to get to 7 or 8 wins. You know what I mean? So for them, it would be Peter Skoronski really settles in and becomes a high-level guard. J.C. Latham really takes to playing right tackle. Dan Moore becomes a road grader at left tackle and really takes his experience in Pittsburgh, and his game goes to the next level. What are you doing at receivers? Calvin Ridley got a whole lot left. You just look across the roster. I mean, defensively, you have Jeffrey Simmons, you're replacing Harold Landry. I just look across that roster and I'm like, where's the discernible strength right now? And where are they going to hang their hat? And again, there's only so much you can do because the free agent class sucked, and they are playing from so far behind. I think they're going to get there in time. I would really hope Brian Callahan gets the time to see that one through, because obviously ownership there has been a little all over the map the last few years. So is Brian Callahan's viability there with the owner gonna depend on Cam Ward, let's say, being Jaden Daniels from last year? And is Cam Ward's ability to do that based on all those things I talked about on the offensive line coming together, them finding more answers than they have right now at receiver? It seems like they still have a lot more questions than answers on the roster.
The Titans are, at this point, they're the shoe-in for Cam Ward. I liked the report during free agency that I think the wording was really funny, where I think it was Josina Anderson reported something like, okay, the Falcons are taking calls on Kirk Cousins, and boy, would the Titans like to get rid of Will Levis. It was the Falcons are like, okay, give us your best offer, and the Titans are just like, anybody? Anybody want Will Levis? I think he's an interesting reclamation project, but you can't have him on the roster at this point, right? You can't have him on the roster. I
don't know. I don't know that he'd be disruptive. He's just, I don't think he was drafted high enough where it's a disruption for another quarterback coming in. Yeah. I sort of view it as Jimmy Clausen being on the roster when Cam Newton was a rookie, if that makes sense. Is he the ideal backup? No. Is it going to be a problem that he's there? Probably not. And if you need him to take the hits that you don't want Cam Ward to take for a month, maybe you can do that.
That's true. That's a tough sell for
tough sell for the fan base for sure. Yeah,
it's also a tough sell.
I look at it, these guys are very realistic about it too. What's the strength of the team? It's probably the 2 defensive tackles, Simmons and Sweat.
Right.
Other than that, you're hoping at corner with L'Jarius Sneed. You have Cody Barton coming in at linebacker. At receiver, it's Calvin Ridley, and what can you get out of Treylon Burks? And then on the offensive line, again, I think you'd hope that this is going to be a real strength for the team, because you have invested in it. You've invested first-round picks in Skoronski and Latham. You invested big money in Cushenberry and Moore. You've got Kevin Zeitler coming over to help out, and hopefully he has something left. So you've invested a ton to get that right. Is that going to come together all at once? We'll see. And I like that they're building it this way. Don't get me wrong. That's what you should be doing, is putting it into the lines of scrimmage. But I don't know. I would just hope that the timeline here is what it should be.
What a credit to Titans offensive line coach Bill Callahan that Kevin Zeitler has decided at the very end of his career to Like there are
Nashville's a
so
nice place to live too, though.
Nashville's a nice place to live. Yeah.